Hello there, welcome back to another week of shows. We've got 4 videos this week. Oh, 4! Woo! Mainly because this first one was meant to be a 1 video and it's been split into 2. For reasons you'll get to in the next video. Because it's meant to be a 2 video Asian Movie Monday, but it's split into 2 because of a reason. So, that's why there's 4 videos. Really, there's probably just enough for 3 when we talk about running times, but it's split into 4. So the first one, which will probably be a pretty quick video, is Raging Fire by Benny Chan. This is his final film that he made before his untimely death. And it stars Donnie Yen and Nicholas Tse and the leads. This is an old-fashioned throwback to the Hong Kong movies of like the 90s and 2000s. You know, you've got a rogue cop chasing down a rogue criminal. The rogue cop is played by Donnie Yen, who's actually he's a rogue because he's upstanding. Everyone else in the police department are horrible. He's upstanding because Donnie Yen, of course. But that makes him a rogue cop in the Hong Kong department. It's so cynical, but it's hilarious. You know, you only become a rogue cop now by actually trying to do your job. You know, which is kind of the point of the film, because Nicholas Tse plays a guy who was a cop, him and a group of other cops would find out where the next generation below Donnie Yen, they were being trained by Donnie Yen. Something went wrong in an operation, they end up in jail, and then they come back out and decide to use their talents for crime. And of course, once that happens, there's going to be like a face-off between Donnie Yen and Nicholas Tse characters, because obviously there's a lot of bad blood, a lot of betrayal, and, you know, a sense of there's going to be payback. I mean, so it does feel like an old-fashioned kind of Hong Kong movie. It's also got a feel of a western, an old western from the 50s, where the hero and villain have kind of a bond that's been tested and been found wanting. There's a lot of 50s western films that actually were playing around this idea, and then they kind of went over to Asia because they were kind of ignored in America when it just became black and white. But in a lot of like Hong Kong movies, this dynamic kept going. This idea, like the villains maybe not be entirely villainous, and the heroes might not be entirely pure. Maybe you look at John Woo films like The Killer and Hard Boiled. This is influenced by them, but it's got its own identity as well. It's not trying to be the killer. It's not trying to have these massive bloodbaths. There's only a few action scenes in the film, but they're all terrific, and they're all differentiated between the different types of action, so you don't feel that you're always getting one type of action. You always feel that it's always starting out with one style, then it goes into another style, and it all feels like part of the same film, but it doesn't feel you're getting repeating the same action scene again and again, which is a problem with some action movies from Asia. Sometimes you feel you've got the stunt coordinator who likes a certain thing, and you're going to get variations of that. In this one, no, you actually get like each one's defined by what it means to the characters, and each one has its own identity, so you never feel any exhaustion in action, because it always feels like it's fresh and new, and it's going in a different direction each time. So that really works. So the action was its punch because you're never seeing the same thing, but also because you like the characters, and the characters' motivation is developed and complicated. I'm going to avoid spoilers in this video because it's a new film. There's no need for spoilers. And to be honest, it's not that complicated a film. It's a really well done genre film. That's what it is. It's extremely well done. And what's really good about it is you do feel for the villains. The villains have had a bad time of it. They've had a really bad time of it. Most of the stuff we talk about is stuff you'd see in the trailer. It's not, or stuff you'd see like in press releases and interviews. It's pretty basic stuff. The villain's been done wrong, and he's pretty mad. And sometimes in the flashback scenes, there are flashbacks throughout the film as you find out more and more about what happened in the past. You really do have a lot of sympathy for him. Like he's actually, in the early past, probably more sympathetic than Donnie Yen. Then as things go wrong in his life and things happen, It becomes less so, but you still sense that this is a guy who's been wronged and he's reacted really badly. But it's a reaction of, it's not reasonable, but it's a reaction you could see someone having in a drama. It feels a reasonable dramatic thing to have, and it really works because I'm a good actor playing it, and they've got a good combination of him and Donnie Yen have an interesting dynamic as actors as well as characters. So you're always interested in seeing them face off against each other and seeing them try to outwit each other and play off each other, because they're not in tons of scenes together, but the scenes count. It's sort of like what's the action is they vary the scenes up as well, so you're not getting the same type of scene all the time. You're getting a sense of progression throughout, and you're always interested to see what's going to happen next with them because it's always interesting. Like, this film seems to have been really well developed at script level and planning level for the action scenes. The film was actually completed in post-production when the director fell ill, but it's so well planned out that it was pretty much obvious where each bit came. So the film was put together and it works really well because it was so well crafted while the director was still able to be in charge of it. So it's pretty obvious where each thing went. I mean, it was a clockwork kind of construction of a plot. Like, you knew where everything should go, so everyone went in there and it just flows really well. It's not perfect. The final action scene I thought went on a bit long. I think I'm in a minority in this one. But I just thought it could have ended a bit quicker, but that's just taste more than anything. It's still a really good scene. Because I was more interested in drama than action. The action's terrific. It continually has that sense of, oh, that looked painful. Oh, that looks really interesting. How they've managed to tweak dramatics to make it interesting. They're always finding new ways to have fun with a scene in ways you don't expect, and there's things that are going on that always interest you, and it's always the big thing with this film is looking at, like, no matter how well planned you are, it's the little things that will get you. Like, for the criminals, it's the little mistakes they make, there's things that really haunt them, because they're so well planned because they were police. For the police, for Donnie Yen, he can be as good as he can get, but it's the little things like the police corruption about him that really get him. The little character touches that absolutely hammer him. So it's always this thing, the human touch always gets in the way. It's always something that, no matter how well planned you are, someone will bugger you up in some weird way and you don't even know they're doing it, and it's going to cause havoc for you throughout. That's what's really good about the film. There's those little human touches throughout that always, so well, it's a really well crafted film. It knows those little things, like the little mistakes people make are what's really telling about them and what's really fascinating about them, and how it rolls on to the next bit and next bit. It's always what's really driving the film. The human touches that are amidst all the planning that each side does as they try and take each other down. It's really well done. You will see an influence of heat in this film. The idea of the master cop and master criminal trying to plan against each other, try to outwit each other, and again how the action is very much locked down until it needs to be. This is, because this is a Hong Kong movie, it's a bit bigger, but it still has that kind of sense of two people who respect each other enough to not try any fast moves. Don't try and be any cheap moves and eat the end of the opposition. You know they're too smart for it, so it's like two respectful people antagonistic towards each other. So it's a terrific movie. Highly recommend. You should really see it. It's a great swan song for a terrific underrated director from Hong Kong. And as Asian movie enthusiast said in his review, it may be the last of the old steel Hong Kong movies because it's a kind of, all the directors have kind of moved on. Benny Cham's the last one, so we don't know if we'll see this kind of film again. So it is wonderful. It's a really wonderful film, so I'd highly recommend it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back soon with another one. That's me for now, but go see Raging Fire.